Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Hauntario podcast. I'm Natasha, and this is Anthony.
And this week we explored a hospital.
Woo.
But it wasn't abandoned. It was full of people. So
Yeah, fully functioning hospital.
not the smartest choice, honestly, but you know what? We have some compelling evidence this week.
You have some compelling evidence.
Yes, you do have a point. It was me that captured this on not necessarily a solo run, but my girlfriend was there, but she didn't participate.
Well, let's start where we went first. How about that?
So this week we went to St. Joseph's in Hamilton. It's a hospital. It's been around since 1889, and it has a long, rich history of helping people, and it's a great hospital. Previous to that, the sisters or nuns that started the hospital operated out of a manor. So I'm assuming that's like just a very large house, many rooms. They could have a lot of patients. So before we talk about the hospital, we're going to talk about why we went to the hospital. That's twofold. First and foremost is because we already had some interesting stuff from that hospital, or rather that I captured some interesting stuff from that hospital. The second reason is because hospitals are absolute hotspots. And I mean, if you've ever had the unfortunate, displeasure of having to go to a hospital for whatever reason, you know that it's surrounded by death. It's either you're going there because somebody is on their last legs, or you're going there because you're welcoming a new baby into the family, right?
Opposite of death.
The opposite of death. So you got life, new life, you got death. And that creates like a vortex of energy. And, I think, Natasha, you were saying, that energy. What was your thing on that?
I was telling you earlier, not a belief, but a question, I guess you would say. If someone passes away at the same time that someone is born, does the energy from the person who is passed transfer into the person who has now been born? I don't know, something I've thought about.
Right, because energy is never destroyed.
No,
that's not how that works. Even in physics, you can't destroy energy, it just changes forms.
You can destroy bodies, but not energy.
Well, Hummer knows that all too well. So, back on topic. With this, it's long been held as a belief that hospitals are absolute hotspots because of it. And we thought, we have this existing evidence, let's go back and see what else we can get. The answer to that is nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
We got zero. We got nothing.
Sorry to disappoint.
To disappoint. Now, if you guys are we're 2 episodes in, but if you're getting annoyed with us doing places that are full of people, don't worry. We're not doing that. We're going to try and avoid that from now on. But these are 2 places we wanted to hit. First one, Mimico or Humber, because Natasha went there and we were excited to go to the historic buildings. The second one, because we already had some compelling evidence from it. So, with Hamilton Hospital and the brief history under its belt, there's nothing actually too crazy about it.
No, nothing wild. It was never an insane asylum.
No, it was never
that got converted into a college.
No, nothing like that. I think the only thing that really is of any note that I found, actually, it was like a snippet, was the nuns or sisters who ran the original place, the manor in question, and I forget the name of it. It wasn't Century Manor, for those of you that are from Hamilton.
No, that's another thing.
No, that's a whole other thing that, I hope we can get into. But it was just a large house where they could operate on a bunch of different patients, and at night, when the sisters would leave, a lot of them would leave, the neighbors of that spot would claim to hear screaming coming from the home. Like banshee wails coming from the home, and that's pretty scary. So it kind of makes you wonder. And even then, they're having ghost experiences in their little home hospital. They're treating patients there. So
how do you know the patients weren't screaming?
I think this was also reported on nights that there was nobody that was supposed to be there.
See.
I don't think that they would say that they could hear screams from the hospital at night, and then it's just a guy who's don't got no leg, right? That doesn't seem like they would report that. Maybe you're right, though.
Well, you said that the manor, rather, opened in the 1800s, right?
Yeah.
So at that time, it wasn't necessarily just physical illnesses. It was also mental illnesses, right? So maybe something like that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have a fair point. This is a fair point.
You never know. We weren't there.
We weren't there. Either way, just reporting some stuff that we found online.
I just have to question everything. You know me.
That's fine. That's good. It's good to be skeptical. So, with that in mind, let's delve into the hospital itself. So we entered at about 10 o'clock, and we didn't get anything. But we'll go through how we went through the hospital, and there's some interesting stuff to talk about. So first and foremost, we this week were happily supplied, with a GoPro from Natasha to have a better video recording solution. Thank you for that, Natasha.
You're welcome.
And in using this, we were expecting about an hour and a half of video, and we got 20 minutes. It died after 20 minutes. It died in a very cramped, small tunnel that we went through, which is suspect as hell to me, because you've heard it told in the past that, ghosts drain electronics and all that kind of thing.
I'm going to interrupt you for a second just to say I have not heard about that until this evening.
So, if you make your rounds online, you'll find it reported more often than not that electronics are drained, or can be drained,
Maybe ghosts just want us to get off our iPads.
That's definitely what it is.
Ghosts don't like Instagram.
Well, either way.
I totally derailed your thought.
You totally derailed me, absolutely. So, 20 minutes on that battery is absolute bull. And here's why. I tested that battery at work today. I just had it charged, I set it down, and I let it record. It recorded for an hour and 20 or so minutes. It was like an hour and 21 minutes. An hour and 21 minutes on the same settings, on the same battery capacity, against 20 minutes. That's,
That's suspect.
That's pretty suspect. So with that in mind, what's going on there? Maybe we, if you want to classify stuff like that as something, maybe that's something. I don't know. I wouldn't put too much weight in it, but it's definitely weird, especially where it died.
Mm-hmm.
And where it lost most of its charge was in that weird little tunnel, which I think we should revisit if we ever have a chance, but not anytime soon. So after unfortunately our camera died, and we didn't really have any backups, we went about doing our EVP sessions and exploring the bowels of the hospital. We were on level 0, which is the service hall, which I believe is the death tunnel, or has the created death tunnel in this place. We found 2 service elevators. Both of them off camera, very sorry, but the first one was an old style 1910, like 1920, like the one where you slide the door closed, that kind of elevator. You know what I'm talking about? Like straight out of a movie from like a warehouse, like in New York. It's super strange.
Like the one that almost looks like a fence.
Yeah,
right?
Literally. Like it's like you close a fence and then you go up. One of those was there, and across from it, literally like maybe 4 feet across from it, was what appeared to be some kind of meat locker. Like that's what it looked like. I didn't
see either of these.
You wouldn't have missed it. I thought I pointed it out to you guys, but apparently I didn't.
We were focused on the service elevators, the more modern ones.
Yeah, but we did find that as well. We found more modern service elevators that were located pretty close, actually, to the other ones that we just talked about, and they had specified like service elevator staff only, which would be the place where they'd bring down cadavers. They wouldn't bring them down in the standard elevators. That would be silly,
traumatizing. Well.
Yeah, like you got to keep an air of professionalism. There are so many elevators in that hospital because it's. I don't know if you know this, to our listeners, it's not one building. It's not one building built in 1889. It's one building built in 1889 and then 1,000,001 expansions added onto that building. So every expansion that they did to that building has a separate set of elevators.
Well, it's 10 buildings in total, right?
I think he said 14, the guy 14? That we ran into. Either way, it is a lot. It is not a small amount. It's not like 2 build. Like we built an extra wing. It's like, here's 14 of them. Like, it's far too many, but that's the way it goes with historic buildings. Or especially when it's a hospital, right? It has to remain in service for them to be able to continue operating and helping people. So that's basically everything we found while exploring the level 0 of the hospital. Outside of that, I think we're basically going to get into the actual EVP in question. Now, I want to preface this with, if you can debunk this, if you can explain it away, please. Because the conversation that's going to follow is going to be a little bit dark. It's going to be a little bit, existential and just a little bit scary. So, without further ado, the EVP in question. This EVP had, I played just the enhanced version, but I barely touched it. And I can upload the original file, and I will. It'll come in the post. So if you're on YouTube, just go in the description. It'll be in the post. You can download the original file. Prove me wrong, because I want to be proven wrong. Because here's my thing, Natasha. So, as you heard, first of all, what do you make? That's definitely a woman's voice.
Definitely.
That's probably the clearest thing I've heard in my life. It's not
that
like
is
a
definitely
mumbled,
a woman's voice who is not your girlfriend.
Because we often refer to Maggie as a sexy boy because she's got like a tomboy voice. She's basically a sexy boy. But I'm just being honest. Like, she doesn't have like a wispy feminine voice like that.
Well, I would call that voice in the more sultry, if anything.
Right, sultry. It's very like fleeting. Even like it sounds like it's just somebody who's passing by you, right? I don't know. It's very strange. But what I'm getting into with this is that's definitely not Maggie.
No.
And it's definitely a voice, and it's definitely like right into the microphone. And I think that's probably the thing for me that solidifies it the most. Because if it was like you hear it in the background, it's like, oh, is it somebody in the food court? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like that's so weak. It sounds like it's like right fucking there. Like it's talking right into my ear almost, right? Just to clarify, for anybody who's interested, for information on how it was captured, it was using a Moto X Play cell phone, just using a voice recording app. I don't really believe in getting overly sensitive voice recorders because you're going to get outside noise way too much. Again, this clearly worked for me, so you're wrong. But just it was recorded on the internal microphone, no additional microphone required, and that's what came out. So just wanted to get that technical stuff out of the way. If you have any other questions, or you want more information on how it was captured, all that kind of thing, you can contact us on the website. Like we said, we want you to debunk us. We want you to prove us wrong, because if you can, then it makes the following conversation voided, and because it's going to get scary. So that to me is probably one of the scariest statements I've heard in my life. And I've showed it to a couple people over the course of the past little bit. And I've considered, before we decided to start this podcast, I considered it submitting to some of the more like the aggregate channels on YouTube that culminate like top 5 and top 15 lists of spooky content. I held on to it. I don't really know why. I just decided not to submit it, and now we're here. So it's going to be on our stuff. We got it. Breaking news.
Glad you didn't submit it.
Yeah, I know. I'm very happy now we can actually talk about it because it is ours. It is fresh content. I think the first person I showed it to was the next morning, so I didn't review the EVP that night. I took it with me, didn't listen to it at all. I wish that I had, because if I did, I could have done another question answer session.
Had a conversation going.
I didn't, unfortunately, but it is what it is. Went home with my girlfriend. I woke up the next morning and I remembered I'd done these EVP sessions, and I went through them. And as I was going through them, first one, nothing. Second one, nothing. Third one, nothing. Right? Fourth one, hello, what's this? Right? And I started freaking out because she was asleep. And I'm listening to it on the headphones, actually, I'm using as, to monitor this recording. And they're decent headphones. So it's not, I didn't need to enhance it. This was clear as day. And it is how it sounds, exactly the way that you just heard it. And I started flipping out. I lost it. And I ran around the house basically showing it to all of her roommates. It was insane. And they've heard the raw recording straight off my phone, and again, sharing it with you guys in the post. So that was where it started, and I started to listen to it over and over again and basically obsess over it because it's such a scary statement, right? So this was recorded on it within like the confines of a death tunnel right next to gurneys. Think about it like this, and this is my thought process. Either that is like a happy statement or a sad statement, and I'll explain. My first thing was, oh, this is happy. It's a nun or a nurse or somebody who has found their personal heaven and or something like that, you know, some kind of thing like that, something happy, right? I'm trying to think of it in a positive light. Natasha, you're giving me this look. Like, and they get to like help people for the rest of eternity, right? That's their like personal heaven or something, right? Why not, right? I showed it to my aunt. And she probably gave me the scariest response I've heard when I explained my thought process about this, like some kind of weird like personal heaven where she gets to help people for the rest of eternity. What she responded with was, or maybe that person is stuck reliving those moments, their dying moments, right? And they keep, you know, basically watching themselves die over and over again, and they're stuck in like some kind of hellish purgatory.
What was my initial reaction? I can't remember right now because you showed me this a few weeks ago.
Yes, I did.
I think it was something along the lines of that, though. It wasn't positive.
It was not positive. And you know what? I really hope that somebody can debunk it, because something that Rwinda said actually when I showed it to Rwinda was, what if like this is some kind of loop, right? That this spirit or energy is stuck in, and I happen to just like be able to catch them in that loop. Lord knows how many times they've relived that, and Lord knows how many times, you know, they do a day or a week or what it's just this crazy nightmarish thought.
Yeah. If
this is real, right, and what we found is real, is that what purgatory is? The best case scenario is that's what purgatory is, because eventually you get sprung from purgatory according to the whole, you know, Christian lore. Stop rolling your eyes. We're hunting. We're not hunting. We're you know, looking for ghosts. What? We're looking for ghosts, and you're rolling your eyes at Christianity stuff.
I don't think this is the best situation of purgatory. Or did you say best or worst?
Best case scenario is purgatory. No, here's my thought process. Again, she's rolling her eyes. My thought process is this. No, hear me out. My thought process is this. If it's purgatory, purgatory eventually ends. Purgatory is like...
Who says this?
Christianity. Purgatory is a state between life and death.
Yeah, but it doesn't end.
It does. Listen, purgatory works like this. A soul it doesn't even have to be purgatory. There's maybe something else. Somebody fucking correct me. But it's basically that when you die, your soul is basically in a waiting room. Whether that is purgatory or whether that is something else.
I think that's something else. I think purgatory is kind of like an in-between of heaven and hell.
Yeah, purgatory is forever wandering. If I'm not mistaken,
like the only way you can really escape purgatory and move on to heaven is by the prayers of people.
Right. But why wouldn't that be purgatory? Why couldn't we say that this is purgatory by that definition?
The waiting room? Because the waiting room implies that eventually, even by nothing being done, if no one's praying for this woman, she's just going to remain there forever.
Right, but assuming it's possible to escape this. That's why I'm saying it's best case scenario is it's that, because at least you can escape it in some way, shape, or form.
Okay.
Right? If it's not that, if it's like, this is literally like death, this is like where you, like your life stops. And that's just your forever. That's fucking terrifying. Yeah. That scares the shit out of me. I don't know. I've been like mulling over this for a year and a half now, and it's fucking scary, and I don't like it, and that's why I'm hoping that it's something else.
Well, you had showed me when we went yesterday that where you did the EVP was right beside the gurneys, and after turning it over in my head a couple of times, I thought maybe she's this woman or this voice or this energy, whatever you want to call it, is kind of reliving maybe her last moments. the emergency area wasn't that far from where we were, especially because the gurneys were there.
No, it's not.
So what if this person came from an accident or whatever situation, and you know, you've seen it before, more in movies, of course. I don't know if you've ever experienced an accident. I hope you haven't, but it happens sometimes.
Not, no.
Well, you were a lucky duck then. But in accidents, especially when people are so struck and surprised, which is all accidents, of course.
They go into shock.
They go into shock and they don't know what's going on. They're not aware of their surroundings. They're not aware of what's going on. So when she's asking, where are we going? I just envision this woman being rolled into a hospital, emergency room via gurney, asking what's going on? Who am I? Where are you? Where am I?
Where are we going?
Where are we going?
That scares the shit out of me. But you know what? There's hope there. In that statement, there is hope. Because as we touched on last time, the stone tape theory, that this is like literally the stone in the earth remembering this super traumatic moment and energy that was released in that moment. I really fucking hope it's that, Natasha, because I'm getting like goosebumps because it's so fucking terrifying for me to think that because I'm like, everybody's afraid of death. Anybody who tells you they're not afraid of death, they're afraid of death. It's not as prominent, but like nobody wants to die, right? Generally speaking, unless you're a very unhealthy person in your mind or something like that. But a normal healthy person doesn't want to die, right? And death is scary because we don't understand it. We don't understand the concept of nothing, right? And if you believe in a religion, which I'm like a 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10 on a religion, and you're definitely like not a lot.
Say a 1.
Like a 1, right? But if you believe in it, that's the comfort for you, right? But this is outside of that. We're just observing and seeing what we see, and we can equate it to the things that we're taught, right? And if we equate it to purgatory, it's already like, what if nobody prays for you? What if you're stuck there?
You're stuck there.
Now, what if it's not that? What if it's a stone tape theory? Then maybe it's just the energy that was released. Then the soul goes to whatever happy ever after is waiting for us, if there is one. And this memory or recording of what happened then happened to be replayed when I was asking for some kind of contact.
Yeah, we don't know.
But now, do you think it's appropriate to go to the hospital staff and ask them about the lady who died on the gurney who said, where are we going? Probably not.
Not at this point.
Not at this point.
Maybe if we befriend one of them, but...
Yeah. I don't know.
I think we need to build some credibility before we...
Yeah, we should probably build some credibility, but I think that's something that we can do in the future. Because that's probably the clearest, like I said, that's the clearest EVP I've ever heard in my life.
It was really spooky.
I don't like it. So I guess that's one way to look at it. I don't know, man. It's freaking me the fuck out.
Okay, relax.
I don't.
Listen, we're all gonna die.
I know that.
Some of us soon, some of us later.
Look.
Just enjoy what you have now.
No, I know. I understand.
And hopefully we get reincarnated into a butterfly.
I don't want to be a butterfly.
Or a Kardashian.
No.
I don't know.
I hope not.
Kylie Jenner's unconfirmed baby? Perhaps.
Oh, keep that out of our spooky podcast. Get out of here with that shit, you basic ass. All right. So that's kind of my thoughts on it, honestly. And you're right. Yeah, everybody's going to die. But that's a spooky thought that it could be some kind of hellish purgatory.
It is. Who knows? One of us, knock on wood. But one of us might be in Hamilton, and one of us might get into an accident, and one of us might go into the hospital, and maybe we'll end up communicating with this girl on a different level. You don't know what's going to happen.
That's
but
true.
You can't dwell on that and freak yourself out about, death.
Right, sure, but it's in the
I get what you're saying. I get like that sometimes, too, where you get like those, oh my God, I'm going to die, and there's nothing after that.
Have you ever watched How I Met Your Mother?
Of course.
That episode where Marshall doesn't have health insurance? And he's like, death. It's all around us. It's basically that when I think about stuff like this. And it's not just that I think about it, it's that we have this evidence, right? It's not a nice thought, We'll play it again one more time right now.
Oh my God.
So creepy.
So I've literally been getting chills all night. Even before we started recording, I showed you, I had goosebumps, and they've been coming on and off. And it's not that cold in here. I was really warm last week recording, so I just wore a thinner shirt today. But it's still not cold. It's just creepy. Spooky.
Yes, it is very spooky.
Do you want to talk about what happened after the hospital last night?
So there is something of note that did happen after we left the hospital. So we left the hospital about, 11:30?
No, it was 11:13. I remember because we got in the car and I was like, oh, any chance we'll be able to make it back to Rwinda's in 17 minutes? Ha ha ha.
Yeah, no. But we left an uneventful drive, but...
Excuse me.
What?
I thought it was a fun drive.
That was uneventful. Uneventful and not fun are two different things.
Well, uneventful just implies like nothing happened. We got some good memories in.
Natasha, there's always good memories with you. Don't
Thank
worry.
you.
Okay.
Right?
We talked about maybe some interesting stuff we could talk about. So I don't know if you've ever heard, when I say I don't know if you've ever heard, we're talking to the viewers of
Listeners.
selling salt in a graveyard. It's been a creepypasta now, so probably you've heard it, but actually it's like deeply rooted in Chinese and Singapore, from those places, in their like old world culture and stuff. And like, you know, when you hear about the stories, it's like my dad told me about his dad who knew a guy. It's like, it's very old. So what it is basically is you go to a cemetery, you lay out a mat, you place a bunch of salt in front of you, and you sell it to these, like, the undead.
There's so many rules behind it. They're like, you can't look up and you can't leave until it's light out and stuff. We'll get into that another day.
Yeah, maybe when we do graveyards.
Yeah.
Maybe
that'd
next
be
week.
Great. Or, you know, if Rwanda ever wants to actually try this, selling salt.
Yeah. Well, scary stuff. But outside of that great conversation, when we arrived home, some weird stuff started.
Not even when we arrived home. So I had
Go
driven
ahead.
to Hamilton last night. I have a bigger truck, so I drove to Hamilton, and I literally dropped Anthony and Rwanda off at Anthony's house, reversed out, called my boyfriend just to give him a heads up. Hey, I'm leaving now. I'm on my way home. And I was maybe 2 streets away from Anthony's house, driving home. And my phone connects to my car stereo, so that way I can have Bluetooth, yeah, so I can have a conversation without holding my phone. Legal activity.
Yeah.
And as I was driving, my boyfriend was like, "Oh, how was tonight? What'd you guys do?" And I was just explaining, like, you know, I don't think we found anything. Nothing really spooky or eventful happened. He's like, well, what did you guys do exactly? I'm like, oh, you know, the same thing we did at Humber. We did like the EVPs and, you know, just asking, oh, if there's anything here, show yourself, make yourself present. And at that moment, and let me just say now, I've had my car for over 1.5 years, and I have never had an issue with the Bluetooth, with the speaker, with the sound. Never before. As I said, you know, make yourself known, make your presence known. For a good maybe 7 to 10 seconds, it got louder and it was just static. Like, I could not hear him. And as I was driving, it was like nearly midnight. It went a lot louder than my boyfriend's voice was. So I jumped and it freaked me out. So it ended.
You could hear him?
No, I couldn't hear him. It was just static.
Okay.
But because, so say for example, Jonathan was like, oh, talking like this. And I was like, static and loud.
Right, okay,
so
I understand.
It was a lot louder than how our voices were when we were having the conversation. So it ended and I'm like, oh my gosh, that was so freaky. Did you hear that? And he's like, I didn't hear anything. What are you talking about? So I think that kind of messed with my mind throughout the night. By the time I got home, it was after 1 o'clock. Got ready for bed. I think it's safe to say that neither Anthony nor I got any sleep last night.
No, definitely not. And you know what? You and we had similar experiences while we were trying to get some sleep.
I'm not the type of person. Like, I watch scary movies. I love scary movies. I go to haunted houses. That stuff. Even I read scary stories. It does not faze me. I sleep like a baby. It is a very rare occurrence when I'm spooked enough or I feel something enough that I'm unable to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, same thing. I freak myself out a little bit, like in complete darkness, like I don't have a good time, but like I get to sleep with like the TV, you know, on quiet, and like, I get comfortable and I have no problems. I'm never scared when I go to sleep. It's very, very, very rare. And what's weird, and I think we had actually taken a break and we had a conversation with Rwinda on the phone. And what's really weird is that we all remember leaving Hamilton with this basically being like disappointed and like just like not afraid. We were like, all right, that's done. We're like hanging out, drinking coffee. Like that's all it was. It wasn't like we got scared out of our minds and then went home and continued to be scared. That's not what happened. We went home and we were completely like just normal. Like there wasn't any fear. Sometimes I'll read a scary story. Some very specific stories will scare the crap out of me.
Well, I did a little more research into the salt selling in the graveyard, but still, like, I know I've read it before. I know the story. It didn't freak me out more than usual.
No, I know what you're saying. Like, it's the same thing for me. Like, I was completely like fine. I was totally fine until literally like I turned off the light and I was like in my bed. I'm like, all right, I'm uncomfortable. And I managed to fall asleep. And then I woke up at 3 in the morning, 3:33 a.m.
See, I couldn't fall asleep probably. I remember looking at the clock and it being after 2 and me being like, okay, I have to sleep. And I had the light on.
Yeah.
So I tried falling asleep with the light off. With the light on, sorry. It wasn't working. Like I was dozing off, but not enough into a deep sleep. Then I woke up and I think it was like 10 to 3. And 3 o'clock always freaks me out. We'll get into this another day with my whole 3 o'clock phase.
Yeah.
No,
I'm still in that phase. Are you kidding me?
No, I don't think I ever told you the story about how, like, for a year and a half, I would wake up at 3 o'clock.
Yeah, same thing.
Oh, so freaky. But
it's happened to me. I'm not discrediting you, but, like, I also know what you're talking about. Like, I had a thing for a long time where I'd wake up and it'd be, like, 3:30.
No, it was 3 o'clock. Always.
On the dot.
On the dot.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was, we'll get into another day. It was really freaky, and it happened for a very long time. But regardless, so it was 10 to 3, and I'm like, okay, I need to fall asleep before 3 because 3 o'clock still freaks me out. I shut off the light and I roll over, and I don't see things. I don't visualize things. I don't, like, my eyes don't trip out when I'm trying to sleep.
You're not like me.
No, but as my eyes are shut, I can see, like, light and shadows. And I know that's impossible because I sleep with my door closed and I have blackout curtains.
Yeah.
I have blinds, and then I close, and then I put the blackout curtains on top of the blinds. So there's no way light can come in. So I'm already starting to get freaked out. Trying to sleep, not working. Ended up just turning on my light. And I was just like, all right, well, this is what we're doing tonight, because at least if the light's on, I can kind of see what's going on. But it was just like every hour and a half last night, I kept waking up and just like scanning the room. It was just such a feeling of an uneasiness the whole night.
Same thing. I think I fell asleep at about 2 in the morning, and I woke up at like 3:33 on the dot, and then I woke up at like 4 something, you know, like 4:40 or something like that, and then I woke up at 5 or like 6 in the morning again. I woke up 3 times, and every time I've woken up in the middle of the night before. It's not a weird thing for me. Mm-hmm. It's pretty common. I you know, just it's nothing new.
Roll over and
right?
go back to bed.
Yeah, exactly. Or like if my Netflix is paused on the TV, I'll just like use my I have a unified remote on my phone. Not an advertisement, very convenient, and I can just use it to restart my Netflix because it pauses automatically. And then I just roll over and go back to sleep. It's no big deal. It's never a big deal. This time, huge deal for some reason.
So uneasy, and you probably felt the same thing.
Exactly the same. So uneasy. Like I woke up and I was like afraid. It literally like
we sound like sucks.
We sound like such babies.
But we're lacking sleep, so bear with us.
Yeah, I can compare it to like when you woke up as a kid in the middle of the night, because when you're a kid and it's the middle of the night, you don't get it. You're like, whoa,
freaky.
What's happening?
Yeah.
Like I was supposed to wake up and it would be light outside and mom would be making pancakes, right? And instead it's like 5 in the morning. What's happening? Someone help, right? You're weird. You're freaked out. Understandably, you're freaked out. So like,
but I'm not surprised, because freaky stuff has been happening for the past like I find that I go through phases where freaky things happen. Like I mentioned to you, the 3 o'clock,
yes,
waking up at 3 o'clock phase. But the past 2 weeks, my cell phone has been like thrown across the room, and I don't say thrown loosely. I mean like I'm not waking up. I when I fall asleep, I do not move throughout the night. I fall asleep in this position and I wake up in this position.
Yeah.
And I have a bed from IKEA, and it's basically the bed and the mattress goes on top, of course. And there's maybe about like 6 to 8 inches of wood along the length, and it just conveniently fits my cell phone. And I've put my cell phone there for years. Like I've had this bed since high school, and I've put, even before I even had an iPhone, my phone goes there. I do not knock it over. I do not roll over and it gets caught in the blanket, anything like this. I've never had an issue. And the past 2 weeks, about 2 to 3 times a week, so I think it's happened like maybe 4 or 5 times now, it's right before my alarm goes off, maybe about half an hour, 15 minutes to half an hour before my alarm goes off.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I just hear like a smashing noise, and I wake up, of course, because you're so discombobulated, and I look over, and my phone is not, it's not that it just like fell off, like, oh, maybe someone called me and it was vibrating and it just, you know, vibrated off the wooden part and fell on the floor. It's like on the other side. Like,
right.
Sorry?
I'm saying like my phone's done that off a dresser.
Yeah.
Somebody calls you, it's on vibrate. It literally like falls off.
Well, mine doesn't fall. Mine doesn't move. Like my vibrate's on the lowest. It's just so I can hear it if it's like on top of something. So it's not powerful enough to do that. I've never had this phone fall off.
Even if it was.
Sure, let's say for the sake of this argument it was. It's not right there. It's like on the other side of my room. And it's so creepy. And I know it's not me because like I'm not even beside it. I'll be like, I have like a queen size bed and I'll be on the right side of the bed, for example, and I was my phone on the left side of the bed and it just flies across. And the first time I was like, oh, okay, I must have just done something, not paid attention. But then it started happening more and more. And it hasn't happened this week yet. Also because I don't think I've been falling asleep, especially last night. But it's just really creepy that that's happening.
All right, so we've already decided, but Natasha is definitely going to set up an overnight camera. You got to do it. You got to do it.
And then what am I going to do with this? Show people me sleeping?
I don't think anybody cares. Listen, we'll blur you out. How about that?
Maybe.
Stop rolling your eyes.
I was thinking.
This is important, okay? You got to do it. I'm sure that...
Okay, so then once my phone goes flying and things start happening in the dark...
Yeah, we can make another paranormal activity movie.
Yeah, and then I have to go sleep in that room?
It's already happening.
Ignorance is bliss. I just want to be in denial and pretend that my phone is vibrating.
It's already happening. How are you gonna?
It's weird though. I don't know why. My house is. It's about, I think.
It can't be that old.
No, I think it's 14 or 15 years old. But it was new when we built it, so no one has lived there before. No one has obviously died in there before.
Right.
It's, Maple. They have the Indian burial grounds, so they're. Actually, funny enough, it's like right down the street from Jonathan's house. It's kind of creepy, but also really cool. But it's like protected, which is really nice. But I think they do have some houses that are built on top of it. But I know that mine isn't, well, as far as I know at least, it's not built on top of any sort of religious graveyard.
Right, you're not disturbing.
I'm not disturbing anyone. We're not doing anything. So all of a sudden, this starts happening. Like, it's weird.
Yeah.
You can just do a sage cleanse or something.
Maybe. It sounds pretty, maybe I know that you're not big on it, but bring a priest in and get him to just bless the house. Your parents would
We've had that before. We moved in.
We'll do it again.
I'm not going to do that.
Why are you not going to do that?
Because I don't believe in that.
That doesn't matter. It's a ghost throwing a phone across the room, and you're going to be like, I don't know about this Christian priest. Oh, come on, Natasha.
We've had the house blessed when we moved in.
That doesn't matter. Stuff can come in later, bro.
Okay, and if it comes in, what is...
You get the priest to come and go, no, leave.
And if I don't believe in that, though, how is...
It doesn't matter if you believe in it or not. It's like, if it exists, it exists. It doesn't... You can say, oh, I don't fucking believe the sky's blue. The sky's still going to be blue, even if you don't want to look up. In the same way, if this shit's real, right? And people are like, oh, I don't believe it. That's not going to change the fact that it's there.
Yeah, but do you think a priest is going to get rid of it?
It's a fucking ghost and you're trying to play logic with me, bro?
Yes, because I don't think it is a ghost. I'm just saying it's creepy.
So what do you think it is?
I don't know.
So what is throwing your phone?
I don't know.
So why am I crazy?
Because you're Anthony.
You know what? Whatever. Anyway, let's move on to a different topic. Because this is fucking... Okay, you know what? We're going to record it. That's all that matters. Whether it's a ghost... or the magic, the entity, fucking, the spirit of a unicorn. I don't give a shit. If it's throwing shit across the room, we got to get a video of it.
I think it's just someone who doesn't like Apple.
So me, I'm there. You're gonna set up the recording, and it's just gonna be me opening Anthony your door,
throwing my MacBook, my iPad, my iPhone.
Meanwhile, you're asleep with your fucking sleep mask on. That's what it is. It's me. I've been waiting this whole time to tell you. I would fucking come in your house and wake you up at 3 a.m. I'd smack you across the face and run away.
Okay, enough of you.
Me. All right. Well, we're gonna do it either way. So, yeah, my thing was just like waking up and being uncomfortable. I've never had that happen before.
Like yesterday?
Yeah, I've never nothing's ever thrown my stuff. I have.
Sorry. Okay.
Yeah, I did have a thing about waking up at 3 a.m. similar to you, but I guess we'll touch on that stuff at the same time since you want to do it that way.
It's going to be a long conversation.
Oh, I'm sure. We can dedicate an episode to like superstitions or something. Like just stuff that people like 3 a.m. is the witching hour, for example. Stuff like that. I think that'll be interesting. Mm-hmm. And then we don't have to go out on Wednesday night. We can stay in.
When there's a snowstorm, we'll see that for
there you go. Winter. All right. So winter, you're going to hit us. We're going to hit up with that superstition shit. So what have we learned? Honestly, I'm still on the edge about it. Just in general, like it's not nice. You know what I mean? It's uncomfortable, the whole thing. I don't know, Natasha. Do you have any closing thoughts on it?
No, I think it was really nice to go for a drive, and slightly disappointing that we didn't experience anything at the hospital last night.
Yeah.
And also disappointing that we experienced stuff after because I didn't get my beauty sleep.
No, neither did I. I was a total zombie today.
Which I feel still like. I feel like I have a lingering uneasiness.
You know what? Go home, drink some tea. Like, just try and chill out.
Maybe. I don't know. It's so weird though. Like I've never experienced the shadows and the lights and stuff like that.
You know what? Actually, like, yeah, I know what you're saying because it's weird. And like I didn't get any shadows, but I got weird flickering like lights when I came home, like just in the peripheral vision. Like I don't want to mention it because it feels like nothing. But
that's me all the time. But I always think it's because my hair. That's just
no, yeah, but I don't have that. I got short hair, bro.
But yeah,
my boys
overall,
got the same haircut.
Oh, sorry.
Go on.
Overall, I think it was good to go explore and investigate, and we apologize to the staff if we freaked anyone out with our walking around.
All right, listen. Okay, you man up. It's silly, okay? With some people walking around a public hospital.
Okay.
Just relax.
It's fine. They're just doing their job. Relax. But yeah, overall it was pretty fun. Like I said, disappointed we didn't see anything, but
we did have the
hey,
EVP
there's
from
always
before.
Sorry?
We did have the EVP from before. So
we did have that. And you know what? Maybe we'll manage to go again in a few months or in a few years or something, hopefully when it's a little less busy. I think that had a lot to do with it.
You can never predict that kind of stuff at the hospital, though.
Well,
right?
no, but if we build some credibility, maybe we can
get more access into the depths. Yeah, maybe. That's what it is that right now we're doing more public stuff, and we need to move into more of private stuff that we can have more alone time with.
We'll get there.
If you have a business downtown Toronto, any very old buildings or stuff, and you're like, hey, I got ghosts. The 1-800-I-GOT-GHOSTS. Call us now. That's not our number. Just contact us, and we'll get in touch with you.
No, but in all seriousness, if you do work somewhere that's allegedly haunted or have had spooky experiences, we would love to come check it out.
Oh, totally.
So hit us up if you know.
If you work at a bar, we would love to come check it out.
I just keep thinking the keg.
Not the keg. Yeah, okay, but like there are other like really old bars downtown that are supposedly
there
haunted.
are, but the keg's a big one.
Right. Well, if you work at the keg,
hit me up.
If you're the manager of the keg, if you eat at the keg, let us know. There it is.
If you eat at the keg.
It's a joke, Natasha.
That's not funny.
Oh, fuck you. Okay, let's try it again. If you work at the keg, if you know somebody who works at the keg, if you have any family members that know anybody you can get us in contact with, that we can negotiate some way of hanging out in their supposedly haunted spot, yeah, let us know, man. Like we're open to suggestions. We're open to really anything. Hit us up. We're very friendly.
What? That's a really great thing, actually. If you have any ideas or suggestions for anywhere in Ontario, preferably closer to the GTA, unless you do a weekend excursion.
Oh, I'm down.
But we'll appreciate anything because you know what? We got time off sometimes. We can do something in the future. You can hit us up. Our Facebook page, our Instagram page, and our Twitter is at Hauntario. So you can send me a DM. That would be really appreciated. Any suggestions of creepiness or spookiness, graveyards, hospitals, abandoned buildings, share it all.
Or alternatively, you can hit us up directly on our website. We have a contact form and we'll get back to you. So that's it. Episode 2. Natasha, how do you feel?
Good.
Good?
Tired, but good.
All right, so you get to go home and sleep now.
Oh, gosh.
I think I'm going to hang out a little bit and play some video games, and then I'll go to sleep. But I'm really excited to continue this next week. Who knows where we're going? Maybe we're going to go to a graveyard. It's November 1st on our investigation day.
Ooh, All Souls Day, right?
All Souls Day. That's the day when the veil is the weakest.
Ooh, we got to look into something good.
Oh, yeah.
All right, we'll talk about that. Thank you for listening, everyone. Really appreciate it.
So,
this is not just a Halloween thing.
A seasonal
couple of people have asked me, like a couple of our followers on Instagram and stuff have contacted me and were like, oh, is this just for October? No, this is year round.
This is forever.
This is not Haunted October. This is Hauntario 365, baby.
That's right. Every day. Forever.
Okay.
I don't know if we're going to really